Why is nobody talking about this anime, bro? Let's talk about Made in Abyss Season 2, The Golden City of the Scorching Sun. I finished this anime a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Time is flying, but this anime, bro, honestly, why is nobody talking about how good Made in Abyss Season 2 is? If you haven't watched Made in Abyss yet, then you're seriously missing out, bro. Fantastic anime. There's really nothing that compares with Made in Abyss in terms of what it does and its soundtrack and its world building and just absolutely just the characters as well. It's a short anime, 12 or 13, absolutely amazing movie, and then Season 2, which was a banger. So that's what I'm gonna be talking about now because frick, man, this needs to be talked about. So obviously there's gonna be spoilers about just Made in Abyss in general. So if you haven't watched Made in Abyss, go watch Made in Abyss first and then come back to this video and support your... Let's just talk about the opening real quick. At first, I was like, okay, it's like a part 2 of the first opening, but it's one of those openings that the more you listen to it, the better it gets. I always get goosebumps at the ending part when like Riko's like falling from the sky and then she's like holding like the white whistle. Prushka's like here's my whistle. So good. There's like the shift in like perspectives with like the new characters and like the usual group, which is very like parallel to what happens in Season 2. The opening as a whole, I could make an entire video on that opening alone. As always, the direction in Made in Abyss is absolutely amazing. The world building in that opening alone is just describes Made in Abyss Season 2 perfectly. The new characters are so good. You're introduced to these characters in Season 2 and they play an absolutely very important role in Season 2 because you see them like in their past, like they're going to the new layer, right? And like I mentioned earlier, you're getting like the perspective changes between Riko and the new characters. You see them like how they found out about the Abyss in general before it was like a thing, before there was like an actual like community living in like the borders of the Abyss. Just very old characters, I guess you can call them, finding out like the curse of the Abyss on their own way by, you know, like sacrificing people. And of course, how it's implemented, how the characters are introduced from point A and they slowly like start revealing stuff, like, oh, this character is actually this. How all of it is beautifully tied together. It reminds me so much like, man, Made in Abyss is so good, man. They could have easily made like the first 6 episodes is just a backstory, the whole backstory of these characters, and then the other 6 episodes it's Riko going to the 6th layer, talking to these characters. That they totally could have done that. A moment you're seeing the new characters, Wasukian and like their crew, beautifully directed. It like transitions into Riko's gang. An example of this, there's like this elevator thing, right? Well, how they did it is like new characters, right, got into the elevator and then they just started going down. People who came out of the elevator was Riko. That's just one example, but it's all over Season 2. It's the subtle things like that that make something great. Speaking of great, the antagonist, oh my god. Freaking Faputa. I love Faputa so much. Such a good antagonist, such a good backstory. How you're made to think that Faputa is IRUburu because they have the same voice actors and all. Again, Misaki Kuno. You're killing it this year, Misaki Kuno. Good job, good job. Excellent performance, excellent voice acting as always. Again, Made in Abyss with the characters, so good, so good. Like, Manju was one thing, but Faputa is entirely different thing. Her design, she's like white and red and she has like the little gems. Super good. Huge props to the author, right? The way he designs the characters, it's simple but memorable. For example, Reg, you could see like a robot kid and he could have been like super exaggerated, but it's super simple. Robot, like big arms, helmet, instantly recognizable. You look at him and it's like, yeah, it's Reg from Made in Abyss. Unlike old A1 Pictures anime where every freaking character looked like Kirito back then. But yeah, like Faputa's design, you're thinking that Faputa is IRUburu, but then you're realizing like, wait, Faputa is IRUburu's freaking daughter, bro. Like, what? We need to talk about how f***ed up this anime is, bro. I love it so much, so much. When Made in Abyss and just anime in general just isn't afraid of like showing stuff in terms of gore. And I kind of understand because people can get like very uncomfortable with that, but it depends on the situation. The way Made in Abyss does it perfectly puts you in the position of the characters. Aside from the music, which I'll get into in just a bit, how graphic everything is. This is towards the end when Faputa's like killing everyone and she's like ripping people apart. She's like blood everywhere. She's going inside people's mouths and then she's coming out of the It's crazy. There were a lot of moments where I was like, this shit is freaking graphic. Like, I love this. And seeing that being portrayed in a way that it makes sense. It's not like a random gore, if that makes any sense. Blood everywhere just for the sake of blood being everywhere. For example, when Faputa was like killing everyone, right? It puts you like how powerful she is, how unrestricted she is, how childish she is, how wild she is. Because the way she was like killing people, it was like a lot of rage, furious, frantic. She didn't have a specific fighting style, for example. Beautifully cutting things apart. For example, like Bonju, who used his like the laser things. Those small things that make the character great. Again, it's visual storytelling. You're seeing certain things play out without the use of words, without the use of the character saying, oh yes, I'm wild, I'm just a crazy bitch, I kill everyone in this way. You're seeing that visually. The impact that those certain scenes have is just great. The backstory that Faputa had as well, how she met Reg, how Reg, the Reg backstory was incredible as well. Faputa was easily the star of this season for me. Personally, my opinion. And her name as well, like the Immortal Princess. It's such a cool name. Maid in Abyss, what is it with Maid in Abyss and names, man? For example, Bondrewd means beacon of light, and his freaking mask is a beacon of light, and the layer he's in is a beacon of light. It's the small details that make something amazing. Like, I always think that I repeat over and over again. The world building, I can't express this enough. It's so good. Easily one of the best world building I've ever seen in anything. The use of music, I'm gonna get into that now. Kevin Penkin, bro, he goes crazy. That man is crazy. I mean, with Shield Hero, like, the OST is amazing in Shield Hero, but he goes crazy with Maid in Abyss. He just like activates, bro. He like, okay, let's make this soundtrack amazing. The new songs for Maid in Abyss, the main theme that's like fire, bro. It's so good. It's such a big part of the anime. Put that Maid in Abyss was composed with super generic music, like super generic fantasy music. A lot of moments and scenes are not gonna hit the same. So Kevin Penkin, that man never misses with whatever he does. And finally, let's talk about the progression and what's gonna happen in season 3. So the progression, it's always been a consistent theme in Maid in Abyss, and something that I wish that a lot of anime did. For example, I'll be honest, Riko, why do you still have the tracksuit? Maid in Abyss does progression in a beautiful way. For example, when they fought Bondrewd, right? Rek lost his arm, and then Riko has her white whistle, which is Prushka, right? And the layer before that was Nanachi. Like, Nanachi was joining their team and stuff. So good, because again, you see an example of that progression. It's not like they went to the layer and then magically they just came out of the perfect. They look exactly the same, even though they've changed a lot mentally. I love to see some sort of physical change when characters are going through progression. You're just going to look at them differently. Just naturally, you're going to see the character differently. And in this case, it was Riko with her short hair and Nanachi with her new armor, the blue armor, which is drip, bro. I'm just saying, that shit drippy, bro. I'm super excited to see Faputa. Obviously, she's obviously gonna join them. Like, it's so obvious. Come on now. Don't say, I'll think about it. You're going with them, bro. But yeah, that was pretty much it for this amazing anime, Maid in Abyss Season 2. Such a good anime. Easily could be anime of the year. Easily. It's so good. I'm super excited for Season 3. I want to read the manga, but I'm not going to read it because I already tried reading it. And the experience you get from reading the manga is not the same from watching the anime. It's mainly the music. Music is such a big part for me. When I watch stuff, when I like play games as well, usually when I finish watching an anime, I always love to go back to the soundtrack. It just reminds me of certain scenes. It reminds me of certain moments, how I felt. And I just don't get that with reading the manga. I really tried. It's not something that I could read, like, for example, like March Crimson Like a Lion. It's a perfect thing to read, in my opinion. But yeah, that was pretty much it. If you, for some reason, watched this entire video without watching Maid in Abyss, I don't know why you did that. If you did that, go ahead and watch the damn anime. Support the anime. Just give it love, show it love, because Maid in Abyss really, really deserves a lot more attention, man. So yeah, like if you enjoyed the video, comment what you think about Season 2 if you've watched it, and subscribe, bro. By the way, the name Faputa, it's a weird name at first, but I promise you, bro, the name is fire.